So this is our mini grow house, all put together finally, and we have a thermometer in there which tells us it was about 1.4 overnight, and we have our first residents in there, some strawberries and they're flowering, and some peas that we're going to be planting just today. And we have two types of peas. One is the pea ambassador, which we have grown since they were a stalk about half that height, and these ones which are Kelvedon Wonder, which we've had before and have done very well, and they're a little bit more mature. So we have several different types of containers for the peas, and this one we kind of made up ourselves. We had an old container left here, and so Roy put together this structure which is very clever, with various elements we've put together because we didn't want to waste it. We'd used the tub for tulips the year before, and it's quite a big tub, so I think it will do very well.
So there seems to be a bit of a fascination about how I've put together the pea system. This is one from scratch. So this is an L-hole flower trough, or L-hole flower trough. And one of the problems when you're growing peas from a trough is to actually keep the canes firmly in, especially if you're in a windy area. So the way I hope I've got around this is to build a box cane out of these plastic coated metal canes. And so what you see is a box form. You can't see the second half of the box because it's underneath. And they have these right angle joints which have got 1, 2, 3 fittings off of, and you can make this box shape that's hollow, and there's no crossover except top and bottom. The fittings and these tubes are sourced from Amazon. Now the diameter of the fittings is something people worry about. Generally speaking, when you buy these plastic canes, and again I know that they're not as environmentally friendly as wooden canes, but they are reusable year on year if you're careful. That's down to you. The diameter of these canes, or the radius, the thickness of these canes, are proportional pretty well to the lengths you use them at. So there are 2 or 3 different sizes of canes. I think a 9mm, an 11mm, and a 16mm, might be a 28mm, depending on where you source them. There's slight variations in that millimetre or 2 one way or the other if you measure them. The longer the cane, the thicker those tubes are, which means when you're identifying fittings to make something like this, these just push together, you have to be ensure that you know what your length is, check the width, and then check the fittings you need to go with it. In this case, we've braced this top and bottom with a diagonal, so this gives a bit of rigidity in both directions, and we've got opposing diagonals. It doesn't need more than that. And we've got here an angular fitting that can rotate, so that the joint can rotate to allow you to stick this to any angle. It doesn't have to be 45 degrees, which it would be if it was a square. As a rectangular planar form, it will be slightly off. All the bits essentially have been sourced from Amazon. Now, I think it's Elixir Garden Products or Garden Centre on there that supply these very interesting metal clips. They're quite hard to put on, but they're a lot stronger. They kind of loop over. They're a lot stronger than the traditional plastic clips that you use and that we've used on our pea hoop system. And they can be bought at the time of purchase of the canes, and there are only a few pounds, and you get quite a few of them, and they're easily enough to give you a very strong cane locked in cane system for quite a considerable length of time. Stop you poking your eye out on any of them. We've terminated them here with little flower rubber caps. We just picked these up at Oakhurst Garden Centre.
Didn't we? We had to cut the ends off, they were rather long.
Yeah, I was getting to that. So the reason that we're using those is because the canes come in fixed lengths. I think these were about 4-foot cane, which is about the maximum you can use for this diameter cane. And we cut the ends off of these with we can do it with a saw, obviously, but actually it's much quicker to use a disc cutting wheel on something like a Dremel, or in this case I used the Bosch version of the Dremel, a Bosch owned Dremel, so essentially it's the same tool, but it means we can keep one nice and the other one for knocking about the garden and getting dirty. So these were end cut off with a Dremel tool to get the shape and the size exactly what you want, but you don't need all that. Don't use pliers, definitely use a saw to cut it because you'll crush them otherwise and it will ruin the profile for putting into the joints. And I can show you that fitting in a second if we just cut. So here's the cane. I think this is about a 4-foot cane. If I go much longer in length, it will go bigger in diameter, so you need to get the right diameter cane to match the fittings that you're going to put on it. These come pre-fitted with points, but we don't really want the points, and also they're a bit of a danger if you want to poke your eye out. So if we're putting these at different angles and you're cutting the end off, you need to put a cover over that, which was that little flower thing you saw. And then you want the fittings. I've sourced these from all over the place over the years, so I've got a big bag of different shaped fittings for putting together different structures. But the thing I was going to show you was, let's get rid of that, are these things. They're universally twistable. They don't last forever, so again they will break, but like a lot of these things, they just take care and they work, and you can clip them on. Gloves are good because it stops you pinching things like so. A little bit of welly that goes on, and then you can have your cross beam or any cross beam you like off at another angle there for reinforcement, and you can build any shape and structurally reinforce any shape you want. I guess people are interested in that, but there we are. Most of those bits are from Amazon, but you can get a lot of this stuff from good garden centres. Just happened to be what I purchased at the time. We've got bits and pieces from Oakhurst again down there. So there you go.
For the other structures, we've used a really nice wooden container. It's really quite big. We've lined it with liner, cut some holes in the bottom, filled it with good soil and nutrients, and then constructed this pea hoop thing and put the cords on as well. So this has been very successful as well.
So we've been asked how this assembly goes together. So this system here is a pea hoop system that we've got from our local garden centre, Oakhurst Garden Centre in Cockermouth in Cumbria. I've just got bean racks like this and pea hoops like this. The fixing system is we've taken from Amazon a Ruddings wood well-made flower pot, flower holder container. These are really strong. This is the second year of use. We've preserved it, and seriously, you can't tell it's been out for a year. The fixing systems we use is I use R-clips. I use nylon R-clips with stainless steel screws, often sourced from Spax or somewhere else. And the R-clips go the other side, and the pea hoops go the other side of the liner in the earth, so there's no chance of contamination. And they're able to retain the pea hoops. They distort, and sometimes when you take them out at the end of the year they may break. That's the price you pay for that. And I have a fitting at the top and a fitting at the bottom, and it really gives this quite sturdy fitting of the end hoops, and then the rest has got the natural give that you'd expect from the kind of plastic fittings. And I kind of, although it's not, you know, bamboo and cane systems that people often use, I kind of prefer this. It's reusable. We've used it year on year for several years running, so it's a good thing. And apart from these clips which break, you can reuse the stainless steel screws if you buy good stainless steel screws. So that's where it comes from. Ruddings Wood is for the supplier on Amazon for this, which is a small company, a UK company. These are made in China, like a lot of these sort of things. The nylon R clips, this is supplied by Desert Boy. It's got all sorts of screws which I don't use because I prefer stainless steel for outside, and a funny little screwdriver, but actually the clips themselves are well made. And that's it really, and that's our pea system.
So that's the first one done. Yes, I know I haven't separated out the plants. We've got plenty of space, but also you're constrained with the space of the containers, so we just love to see the display, all of them coming up together. So number 2 is well on its way and nicely watered in. Looks good, looks good. and number 3, and it's time for tea. So next up is taking a little look at our lawn, and after two years of pretty consistent rain, the state of it is pretty poor. We've got a lot of moss, which helps to prevent a lot of the weeds, but every time you walk on it you leave your footprint quite literally behind, so we're going to deal with that before the rain comes. So for this job I'm going to use Westland Mossmaster Natural, and that's a really important bit because it's not to be confused with Mossmaster. Some of the products you get online add in various metals and chemicals that kill the moss. This one uses bacteria to really kill, eat and break down the moss, so it really does say no rake required, no black patches, and it really does work. I've gone for the 400 square metres, and that's because we're going to use it all on this lawn, so we may be a little while. Child and pet friendly as well, so it's good. Alright, so I'm going to try a new gizmo. This is for putting out a line, a straight line, stick that in the ground and allow that to run away. You stick the other end in, because normally when we've been measuring out 1 metre strips on the lawn, we've been faffing about with string, getting blown about in the wind and the gales, so hopefully this will speed us up.